All right. Hello, my name is Carly Scott. I am an account manager team lead in the enterprise department here at Logical Position, and today we're going to be talking to Cooper Glass about Instagram. So Cooper, why don't you introduce yourself as well?
Yeah, thanks, Carly. My name is Cooper Glass. I'm the Director of Paid Social Strategy here at Logical Position, and excited to be going over this.
So we're going to be asking you some questions around the article that you recently wrote, just so you can elaborate further for our listeners. So why would somebody invest on Instagram when there's so many advertising platforms out there?
I guess the answer to that is, as marketers, it simply makes sense to be serving ads to individuals on platforms where your target market is spending the most time. And it allows us to, one, effectively remarket to users who have purchased or visited a company's site in the past and kind of re-engage them, drive them back to the site. Two, it allows us to prospect for new potential clients that have not yet heard of your company. And this is kind of a big competitive advantage of Facebook and Instagram as a whole as a marketing platform. One, they have thousands of data points on each individual to be able to create a really targeted experience when prospecting for new potential customers. And two, a lot of marketing is simply providing solutions to problems people are facing. And what a lot of companies run into is the fact that potential customers might not know that there's a solution yet to the problem that they're facing, or they might not even know they have a problem yet. And so really what targeted ads on this platform allow you to do is to prospect new potential customers, educate them about your company, about your unique value propositions and what you have to offer, customize these campaigns, and be able to drive new traffic to the site, as well as remarketing to individuals who have visited or purchased in the past.
How does Instagram, and this is a question I get all the time on enterprise with my clients on Google, how does Instagram decide how to show and who to show the ads to? Obviously, it's definitely very different than Google Ads.
I would say the main difference between Google and Facebook and Instagram is, Google being based off of search criteria and Facebook and Instagram being based off of specific audiences that we target, and then we serve ads to these individuals as they spend time on the platform. So there's four main areas and different types of audiences that you can set up. First is going to be an interest-based audience. So Facebook has a ton of different options from an interest-based targeting to be able to select different age ranges, gender, and interest to be able to kind of pinpoint users within your target demographic. The second is going to be through uploading different customer information, whether it's phone numbers or email lists, to create custom audiences to be able to serve ads directly to individuals that are email subscribers or have purchased in the past, or to utilize these kind of core base audiences to create lookalike audiences off of those. What lookalike audiences are is Facebook looks at the aggregation of similar attributes between all the individuals within this audience that you uploaded, figure out the commonalities between them, and then it goes out and it finds, let's say, the top 1% of individuals within the United States that are most similar to individuals that have purchased in the past and look the most like them, and then create highly qualified audiences around that. So those are the two main ways that you can go about prospecting for new potential customers. Two ways that you can kind of remarket is, one, targeting based off of actions users take on the platform, such as if they've viewed a certain percentage of a video on your page or a video that you have within the ad, if they've interacted or engaged with your page, or they've liked your page in the past. And then lastly, it's going to be creating targeting audiences based off the actions that users take on your actual site and are picked up from the pixels. So you can create custom audiences based on website visitors, based on actions users take on the site, or even specific products that users view on the site.
How would you say people should go about setting their goals for social ads? Definitely different than, like you said, Google Ads. So I'd be curious to hear how you would answer that.
I think there's no catch-all answer here, but I think ultimately it's important for business owners to really make a decision and speak with whoever they're marketing with in-house or at an agency like Logical Position to thoroughly communicate profit margins they have internally, kind of identify where those goals are, but also to identify what role they're looking for Facebook and Instagram to play within the overall marketing approach. Because of the recent iOS updates, there is some limitations for overall attribution. Facebook has announced that it is under tracking by about 15 to 20% due to the app tracking transparency prompt that Apple released. And also understanding that when you're looking to prospect for new individuals that have never heard of your product before, there's some additional value in sometimes taking that break-even point that you typically have and adjusting it slightly, understanding that by acquiring new customers that are able to, one, increase your lifetime value and come back and purchase, two, to have word of mouth advertising around it, and three, the fact that you're able to increase brand awareness as you're serving ads to more individuals. We definitely have had clients that have said, hey, we want to adjust goals for this platform, understanding all these other benefits that come with this, understanding that attribution won't be perfect, but kind of figuring out what that source of truth is, being very clear about that, and then working to scale as much as you can on the platform within those parameters. think that's another benefit that Facebook and Instagram has is the ceiling is a little bit higher in certain cases just because demand is not based off of search volume, but more so based off of individuals on the platform within these audiences that are responding to your ads. And so we definitely have, worked with a lot of companies that might adjust their goals slightly, understanding the upside is that they can scale, they can kind of season that pixel on their site to increase results in the future, and then ultimately have more and more people purchase from them and enter their lifetime value funnel to be able to re-engage through other mediums such as email marketing or serving ads to them on the platform in the future.
Yeah, definitely not a one and done sort of answer. Depends. It always depends, right? Could you give us an example of how somebody might go about prospecting on the social platforms?
The main intention of prospecting, I already touched on this briefly, but it's to be able to educate people about your service, drive new traffic to the site that otherwise wouldn't be visiting the site, and then to remarket to them within other parts of the funnel on platform or off platform to re-engage them and get them to make a purchase. As Facebook has evolved as a platform, as the machine learning algorithms got better and better, and advertisers have been able to improve their tactics from a creative and targeting perspective, it's actually kind of evolved to where this can actually have a really good ROI and have a lot of scalability. And so I think for each specific business, they should make sure that they're understanding the return is likely going to be and should be lower than within another area of the funnel and within remarketing. And they kind of play a role together, especially with prospecting having the added benefit of driving new traffic to your site and increasing that brand awareness, but also understanding that when done correctly and taking the proper approach, this can actually drive a lot of direct revenue for companies.
Why should a company not solely advertise on Instagram? Obviously, it ties into other platforms, but what's the best way to use Instagram in combination with some of those other platforms like Google Ads?
This is just a tool that marketers should have in their tool belt that plays a specific intention, exactly like Google Ads, like Microsoft advertising, looking at email marketing, looking at SEO. These are all different parts of the funnel and should work in tandem together from an omni-channel approach. And so I do think it's very important for advertisers to be able to not get stuck within one specific medium and to make sure that they're looking at things holistically and understanding that being able to run and increase brand awareness on Facebook and Instagram advertising is going to increase overall branded search volume, which is going to help with SEO. It's going to help with Google Ads. They all play a role in each other. The traffic being driven from other mediums really helps from a remarketing perspective and to season that pixel and give them more information into what types of users are visiting the site and taking actions on the site, which is very in line with what we try to do at Logical Position is, working with all of our clients to be able to act as business consultants and be able to give them insight into what additional growth opportunities there are, not just on the platform, but within their business as a whole.
Don't put all the eggs in one basket, so they say.
Well said. That should have been my answer. That would have been a little more concise.
Well, in the article, you also referenced common issue is mismanagement of budgets, so too much going to remarketing. So what would you say is too much going to remarketing campaigns specifically?
Remarketing is going to have a higher return, right? It's the most qualified individuals, but it's important to keep a close eye on the frequency, which is the metric of the average amount of times that users are seeing an ad from your company within this specific campaign. And what we see a lot from clients that we are onboarding is they might still be hitting returns, but their overall frequency is 35, 40 within a 2-week time span. And not only is this not effective, but it also hurts the strength of the brand when individuals see ads from a brand 3 to 4 times a day and go from knowing the brand and being educated about to being almost annoyed of the brand if they're seeing ads that many times. And so what we really aim to do is to, one, make sure that remarketing return on ad spend is always higher than prospecting. And the reason we say this is within prospecting, CPMs are lower, we're increasing brand awareness, driving more traffic to the site, and there's the additional benefits that remarketing might not bring of driving additional traffic to enter the remarketing funnel. And 2, when we split out ad sets within a campaign for remarketing, we split it out based on the amount of time and the time decay from when a user visits the site. A good example would be one ad set with 7 days since they visit the site, another one 14 days, another one 30 days. And so although it's not a perfect science, you can start to see within this, based on the frequency within each of these, how returns start to diminish as you go into longer windows and as the frequency goes up. And just because you're hitting goals within a campaign or within a platform doesn't mean there isn't a ton of growth opportunities and room for improvement. And we really see that a lot of individuals may be looking a little too high level just at the campaign or at a part of the funnel and not really diving in to figure out how they can continue to improve this. Missing some opportunities. There is a point of diminishing return from a frequency perspective, and it's something all advertisers should keep in mind.
I can think of a few brands right now who should probably tighten up their frequency caps on myself. So another thing that you mentioned in the article was that creative and copy are obviously two really important levers to improve on for Facebook and Instagram. Obviously, they're two very visual platforms. So what would some of the most common issues that you see that people could improve on from creative copy and just creative standpoint in general?
I would just encourage advertisers to really understand what we're attempting to do is a difficult thing on Facebook and Instagram, which is show up on someone's feed alongside a bunch of people that they've intentionally chosen to follow, that are their friends or family or celebrities that they've been following forever, and to place an ad and catch a user's attention, so much so that they decide to view the ad, click on it, and go off platform. So that should be not taken lightly. Advertisers should feel the weight of that and understand they really need to create something captivating that grabs a user within the first couple seconds. So I'd say the first thing is sometimes advertisers will take the approach similar to what they would take on YouTube or other mediums where maybe it's a little more long form and you have a little more time. So very rarely does it make sense to have a video that is, 2 minutes long. You want to be quick, you want to be 15 seconds, you want to be able to very clearly articulate what sets you apart, what you're providing. This isn't the time to wait until the last 2 seconds of your ad to be able to showcase what you actually do as a company. It's not a commercial, it's really to focus on here's the problem that we're looking to solve. This is what we have to provide, and to grab that user. So making sure that the messaging and the creative approach is different depending on where you're at within that user's journey with your company. So individuals know different amounts about your company, and while prospecting, we'll really be focused on having a hook that is catchy, making sure that we gain their interest, educate them about the product. Within something like remarketing, we're going to be more so focused on answering potential objections they might have about the product that cause them to visit the site and not go through with that purchase. And a lot of time the messaging, whether they just visit the site versus viewed content versus added to cart, our approach needs to be somewhat different as well. So I'd say one of the biggest things is making sure that you have a diverse approach to creative types on the platform. Facebook not only gathers data in terms of what creatives are working well as a whole, but understands for each user on the platform what type of creatives they respond to. Some potential customers respond better to static images, some respond better to small, quick animations, some to dynamic product ads. And so by having a diverse array of creative types, it allows you to not only scale vertically, but horizontally, and to reach some individuals that you wouldn't be reaching if you just had a GIF or just had a video. And then lastly, I would just say, have high quality images. Individuals, you have to gain trust with them, right? This is a company they've never heard before. You're showing up on their feed, and the easiest way to lose trust with them is to have glaring mistakes within your ad. So always make sure you're doing your due diligence there as well.
Everybody's a photographer these days with Instagram, so everyone has high expectations, right? Last question here, but how can businesses take full advantage of the pixel and lookalike audiences?
A few different things. One, making sure that within Events Manager, you're verifying your domain, you're ranking your events, and you're enabling the value optimization toggle. These are all core things that you'll need to do to make sure that Facebook is utilizing the pixel to its full capacity. The next thing is enabling Facebook's Conversions API. What this does is it changes the data to be able to be tracked server side instead of from cookies. And this gives additional insight to advertisers and to Facebook to be able to optimize off of. So when you're looking to create lookalike audiences, making sure that you're gaining as much information as possible when you're uploading, to have phone numbers, to have full emails, to have all of that segmented. And then, there's a lot of cool things that you can do even within integrations within email services like Klaviyo, or doing this manually to be able to create base audiences based on users that have bought male clothing versus female clothing, or individuals that have been repeat purchasers, to be able to then, one, market to those individuals directly, re-engage them within your LTV audience, or two, create specific lookalike audiences off of those as the type of individuals that will purchase certain products on your site versus others. And the more that we can give Facebook data and guidance, ultimately helps it create the most relevant audiences in the long term.
Well, that was all my questions that I had for you today, Cooper.
Awesome.
Any other words of wisdom to end it off with?
It's been a roller coaster of a year advertising on the platform, but feel very grateful we're in a position with our relationship with Facebook, and then also with the data that we've been able to collect to be dynamic throughout this year and continue to kind of change our best practices to fit the changes on the platform. So, excited for next year, and things can be a great 2022.
Yes, excited for 2022. Great things to come. Thank you for your time and sharing your nuggets of wisdom today, Cooper.
Thanks, Carly. I appreciate it.
All right.